Hello everybody, welcome to episode number 300 of Dulcimerica. My gosh, I cannot believe it has been 8 years and 300 episodes since I first began, and I just want to thank everybody out there who has ever watched the program and everybody who's watching right now. This is just truly amazing, and I'm very excited about the direction that we're going to be traveling in the new year. Speaking of which, I would like to give a big shout out right now to one of my patrons on Patreon, John Timlin. John Timlin, thank you so much. He pledged in at an incentive amount that got this shout out as well as some other stuff, and you can too. Just visit patreon.com/bingfutch to find out more and how you can be a part of the art and help make all this stuff happen here in Casa de Milagro. So what am I going to do for episode number 300? I think since we're going into a brand new year, 2016, I'd like to give you one of those online top 10 lists. And this is going to be top 10 ways to improve your playing in the new year. Number 1 is get a thicker pick. A lot of people don't think too much about the picks they use, and you really should, because it's a very, very important part of playing the mountain dulcimer, or any instrument that uses a plectrum for that matter. And there's all different kinds of picks you can use. A lot of mountain dulcimer players like to use the Herdem pick. A lot of them never question why they're using a Herdem, just because everybody else is using it. The Herdem pick is about 0.60 millimeters. And you'll notice that you can very easily bend the ends of the pick, and that's what you don't want. If you've got a nice floppy pick, and some people are playing in 0.46, the Jim Dunlop nylon picks, when that pick is that floppy, it's going to contribute pick noise to your playing. It's also not going to give you a proper feeling in your fingers of the registration of that pick hitting the strings. So it's not going to give you as much control. Now, a lot of people worry about a thicker pick because they think the pick's going to fly out of their fingers. If you grip the pick too hard, that's true. But if you hold the pick nice and light between your thumb and forefinger, that pick will kick back and forth by itself and you won't lose it. It may take some getting used to, but it's worth it to get a stiffer pick. And the one I recommend the most is the V-Pix Bing Ultralight 0.80 from vpix.com. And this pick is made of cast acrylic, very, very low pick noise, solid enough, and it sticks to your fingers when you play. How cool is that? You don't have to worry about it leaving your fingers, so you can relax and enjoy. 20% more volume, great dulcimer tone, and I love it. 0.80 millimeter, but no matter what pick you play, you want to go at least 0.80. My favorite is actually a 1.0. That's that V-pick right there. Gives me a lot of control. Anything more than 1 millimeter and you're going to start getting into too thick, and you will get an awful lot of pick noise, which is to say, don't run out and get one of those. Thicker pick in the new year. Number 2 is work with a metronome every single day. Look at this old-fashioned thing. But I love it, love it, love it. And a metronome, practicing every day with one, will calibrate your inner rhythm and get you used to being patient and waiting for the subdivisions in between beats. I always suggest starting with something around 68 or 69 beats per minute, which I've got this set at right now. Go ahead and turn that on. Nice and slow. It's a lot harder to play slow than it is to play fast because you have to be patient and wait for those beats. Each one of those clicks right there is a quarter note, and you can count on top of that, strum open, and just keep time with that and get used to being nice and patient. Strum, 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 and then count your subdivisions of the 8th notes in between. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and of course your 16 note subdivisions as well. 1E and a, 2E and a, 3E and a, 4E and a. It's a great, great tool, and you can use it to keep yourself nice and steady and consistent. Use your metronome about half the time, and the other half of the time, trust your inner clock. Build up that sense, but do use it every single day. The pros do, the amateurs do. It's a fantastic tool. And this one in particular even has a visual metronome setting. Now that can be very tough, but if you can train yourself to use a visual metronome, you could even keep it on stage with you if you wanted to, and use it for reference to start off songs. A lot of professional drummers actually keep a click track in their ear so they know the right tempo. But the more you work with it, the better you'll get. Number 3 is play a little bit every single day. Now I know the life we live is very busy, and sometimes it's difficult to be able to cut out a little bit of rehearsal time for yourself with the dulcimer. But even if you play for just 5 minutes every single day, you'll be marking the road to a better skill set. Just be persistent. Wake up a little earlier, go to bed a little later. And no matter what you do, whether it be 5 minutes or 5 hours, break your rehearsals up into 3 distinctive pieces, basically. One will be work on technique. Work on your scales, work on finger technique and exercises, work on the metronome and the rhythms. Do very technical stuff. 2, work on one specific piece of music. Now I know it's very tempting to want to learn 5 or 10 songs all at once, but all of those songs will suffer because they aren't getting your complete and full attention. So focus on one song, learn it backwards, forwards, and upside down. And when you're done with that and have it memorized, put it aside and then pick up the next tune. Third and finally, just wander, just have fun, kind of like what you did when you first got the mountain dulcimer. Just put it on your lap and just kind of pick at it. Serendipity will come into play and you'll find yourself discovering new sounds, new melodies and chords, new hand positions. It's all very fun when you don't have a big agenda of, I've got to learn this song or I've got to practice my scales. Just kind of enjoy it, and it's a nice way to end out your rehearsal. So, technique, repertoire, noodle. That needs to be on a t-shirt. Number 4, tip for better playing in the new year is change your strings often. You know, I know people who have the strings that came with their dulcimer 20 years ago. And it's very difficult to get those strings to stay in tune, sound good, and resonate because they've got just all kinds of finger gunk and stuff inside of them. So, if you play a lot, you're going to want to change your strings a lot more often. There are a number of different places where you can get strings. You don't have to buy those dulcimer sets that come in the stores because oftentimes those are really wimpy strings. You can get those strings a la carte, separately, and you can pick out the gauges that you like. Experiment with them and find out what responds better to your touch. The strings that somebody else likes may not be the strings that work the best for you. So experiment with that and do change them as often as you can. It's not terribly expensive and there is nothing like the sound of fresh strings on a mountain dulcimer. Number 5 is learn your mountain dulcimer fretboard. It's a great way to begin, and you may not even understand why. You don't even want to read music, but believe it or not, if you know what notes you've got down here in the different tunings, it's going to make it a lot easier for you down the road as you start to learn more about melodies, scales, chords, arrangements. So the best way I've discovered is to simply know what those notes are in the first octave, and of course they'll duplicate in the second octave. And the best way to do that is to play 3 scales, D, G, and A, across the strings and up and down the strings. You do your D major scale up the melody string, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Same thing on the bass string, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Up the middle string is A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Across the strings, D from the bass string, D, E, F sharp, G to the middle string, A, B, C sharp, D. From the 3rd fret, G on the bass string, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. From the 4th fret on the bass string, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. If you have a 1.5 fret, you've got F on the bass string, F on the melody string, and C on the middle string. By playing those 3 scales across the strings and up and down the strings, you've just named every single note in the first octave. Do it for about 3 weeks, and before you know it, you'll look down there and you'll know what every single note is. Even if you don't know what you're going to use it for, you'll find out later that it's really going to come in handy. Come on, you bugger. Number 6, this might not seem very obvious, but clip the fingernails on your fretting hand, whatever hand that might be. You can leave the fingernails on your strumming hand, because some people like to use their fingernails when they're finger picking. It gives them a nice texture. But this hand, when you're doing bars and other chord shapes, long fingernails can get in the way. So think about it, and you know, when you think about it, truly, Musicians don't always have the nicest looking hands. They look gnarled sometimes because they're doing a lot of work down there. But if you want to be a great player, you'll have to sacrifice something. Sacrifice having pretty hands and instead have hands that'll be highly functional for you. Clip those nails, even the thumbnail, and you'll be a better player in no time. Nothing to get in the way. If you want to have long nails, use press-ons. I've done that. Number 7, get a looper pedal. Looper pedals are awesome, and if you watch episode number 299, I demonstrated just how awesome they can really be. A looper pedal is a fantastic rehearsal tool. If you're playing arrangements with more than one part, you don't have to wait for anybody else to come along. You can go ahead and loop one part and come along and lay that second part right in there. Or, if you're working on your own arrangements of songs, you can start bouncing chords and melodies off each other to see what works and see what doesn't. You can also record this stuff, save it, and then download it to your computer. And of course, you can use it for performance. This is a fantastic tool, whether you get the Boss RC30 or the RC50, which is crazy, or if you get the RC3 like Butch Ross uses, you know it doesn't slow Butch down at all to have just one pedal, and it won't slow you down either. So get a looper pedal and find out that it's really going to expand your mind and your playing skills. Number 8. Join a Dulcimer club or jam with others. Now, I know a lot of people don't have Dulcimer clubs near them, but if you haven't looked yet, look at everythingdulcimer.com and then just take a look and see if there's anybody in your area. And sometimes they may not meet regularly, but they might get together every once in a while. It's really awesome to get together with other people because you can learn new tunes and you can learn new tips from the people sitting around you. If that's not possible, get out to a Dulcimer festival or retreat or a workshop where they're jamming and jump right in. It is a fantastic way to learn all kinds of stuff in a short amount of time. If neither of those are options for you, or if you're looking for something 21st century in style, there's something called JamKazam. They're at jamkazam.com, and it allows people with an audio interface, a microphone, and a computer with a Ethernet connection is what I was looking for, and you can jam with other people with no latency, no delay whatsoever. That's really cool technology. That means you can jam with somebody halfway around the world and it'll sound like you're together in the same room. Really neat stuff, but I cannot highlight enough. Playing with other people is the best way to improve your skills. Doesn't matter if they're less skilled or more skilled. Just bouncing off them is a really super cool thing to do. Give it a try. And if you're shy, don't worry, because mountain dulcimer people are some of the nicest people in the world. No fear, just fun. Number 9 is invest in a great tuner. A lot of people don't realize this, but if you buy a cheap, inexpensive tuner, not only is the building material of it kind of bad, but also that tuner might be letting you down. You take a cheap tuner and you compare it with a tuner, top of the line, $5,000 piano bench tuner, basically, used by piano tuners. It'll reveal that those little cheap tuners are actually letting you down. They're showing you that you are perfectly on pitch, but the measurement of this sound, called cents, sometimes it'll show that you are 10, 15, even 20 cents off. You can't afford that because it makes you sound like you're completely out of the ballpark in the tuning department. So go ahead and invest in a really good tuner, and I really recommend the Strobo Clip by Peterson. These are the same people that do make those $5,000 piano tuners, and this thing is so accurate. It's the same technology. It is wickedly accurate. It's the most accurate clip-on tuner on the market right now. It's also built like a Mack truck, so it's not going to fall apart like some of those other tuners. We won't mention any names. Nice heavy-duty clip, and it is adjustable, articulated, so if you have a headstock that is very difficult to clip onto, don't worry, this thing will find a way. Once you get used to reading the Strobo tuner, let me see if I can get it to talk to me a little bit there by picking up the vibrations through my finger. Those bars that you see there, hum, they'll move. When they move to the left, you're flat. When they move to the right, you're sharp. When they stand still or basically still, you are right on the money. Once you get used to reading that, if you're used to reading a needle pointing straight up or color changes, this is the way to go. Now, they're not cheap. $80, $85. You could probably find one used on eBay for a little bit less, but it's not going to fall apart, and it is going to keep you in tune. And finally, number 10, although we've sort of glanced upon it a little bit, I would say, I didn't want to scare anybody by coming right off the bat and saying it, but if you really want to improve your playing in the new year, go ahead and jump into learning music theory. Now, I know it's a scary phrase, but you don't have to go back to college for it. I taught myself how to do the music theory dance, and I still teach myself a little bit every single day. It cost me a couple of books and some research, and now I'm teaching other people how to do it. So I started this list with a plug, and I'll end with a plug. This is Method for Beginning Mountain Dulcimer. You can find it through Fullcraft Instruments, through my website, bingfutch.com, through Amazon, a lot of other retailers out there. It is the definitive introductory guide to music theory for the mountain dulcimer, and it'll take you step by step, very slowly, and get you playing in different exercises and introducing elements of music theory. So by the time you're done, even if you're not a beginner player, you will have a really good grasp of how this music theory thing works. And let me tell you, once you get that music theory into your vocabulary, it really makes a huge difference. Your mountain dulcimer just opens up like a flower. You'll thank me later. So no matter how you do it, get into music theory, because you'll find out that it is your friend. And there you have it, my friends, my top 10 list of things you can do to help improve your mountain dulcimer playing in the new year 2016. Thank you very much. If you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to drop me a line at bingfutch@yahoo.com. I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys out there on the road. A lot of exciting stuff coming, and I'm looking forward to share it with you. And here's to the next 300 episodes of Dulcimerica. Thanks again for watching. Happy New Year and many, many hours of happy playing. We'll see you. Cat.